Sanibonani, Dumelang Molweni Mzansi Africa, and welcome to your #1 youth show, Expressions. Well, young people between the ages of 15 to 34 years old make up 20.6 million people in South Africa, making up 35.7% of the total population. If we want to create a more inclusive democracy that represents the diverse needs of its people, we must encourage and empower young voters. It's also because of young voters' diversity, their fresh perspectives and status as the future leaders of our nation make their voices critical in shaping our nation's future. And I'm not rolling solo, I'm with Azaria. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, but we are back.
Sweet.
Expressions is back for yet another hot sizzling season. SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Mina ngingu Azaria wakwaKhoza. Ukuhlukahlukana kwethu ke siyintsha yezwe laseNingizimu Afrika allows us to speak to a wide range of issues. Futhi nemibono yethu nayo eyahlukene also allows us to bring fresh approaches to topics like economy, the youth unemployment, education, crime and many others. Now siyizwe sibheke okhethweni ihlandla lesikhombisa kulonyaka. In just 2 days, voters will for the first time receive 3 ballot papers instead of 2. Umbuzo esibuzayo ke mbukeli ukuthi do you as a young person lapho ekhaya understand the logistics of voting kulonyaka, and was enough done by the IEC to educate thina singabantu balapha kwelengabadi about the 3 ballot system? Let's hear what you guys have to say.
To be honest with you, I don't think that a lot of people are really informed about it.
At least in the nolwazi lawo amaphepha wakhona like ndawabona.
I've seen someone on social media on how to vote, how it's going to be laid out on the ballot papers. So yeah, I think when I get there, I'm going to be understanding what's going to happen.
Well, it depends who you are and with the level of capability of understanding the instructions. But I think I still feel in actual fact that there are still people who are not more knowledgeable how it operates or how they should do the procedure. So, but I myself and the other maybe youthful people, I think they fully understand what's going on. Yeah.
My question is exactly so. If I'm registered to vote and I don't vote, where do my vote goes to? Because I've heard rumors, if I register to vote but I don't vote, it goes to ANC automatically. So I want to understand that part. Is it true or kanjani?
Leyo ke imibono yababukeli bethu emigwaqeni. They were of course talking about the 3 ballot system. Joining me right now for this conversation is Dr. Gamete, who's also a career coach. Expressions. Amazing. So we are talking about, this critical time esiguso right now as a country, njengezwe lase South Africa. We're also just trying to take a look at voters' apathy. Abantu abasha, ucabanga ukuthi mhlambe abantu abasha basasenalo ugqozi lokuvota and just to go out there and make a difference.
I think they are looking forward. I don't want to lie. They are looking forward, especially laba bazobe voter for the first time. By the experience, Gubona, I think it's very important. It's very necessary, and I would encourage you to they should go because any into kala. And you didn't do something, complainile, you could have done something. So, abaning babo they are, but of course, abaning they are asking different questions, including what you have just mentioned. Ballot papers as so it's a little bit more confusing than before, especially for the first timers. But I've seen quite a lot that has been done. It is of my personal concern, the number of choices. I mean, if ngitsiguena na buffet chooser, I've noticed ukuthi kumthatha isikhathi umuntu ukuthi aphume kuze kungena omunye elayini. Yes, kumthatha isikhashana than kube ngithe nje sinophuthu nestampu nenyama yenkomo neyenkukhu and all of that. I'm not trying to say akukho right ukuthi sibe ne variety, but I'm a little bit concerned, but I know abantu abasha they are educated enough to make their voice heard.
Speaking of variety, Putwami, you work a lot with young people, and when you speak to them, sometimes there are problems that may arise. Unemployment, there's crime in the country. When you analyze the situation right now, the psyche of young people heading to these elections, Banjan.
they are quite concerned, especially with graduate unemployment that they are faced with. Even those I was talking to my third years laphayana UJ, nabo they are just concerned with mabephuma la ngaphandle kuyobe kunjani nayo yonke lonto leyo. So they're quite concerned about governing of this country, no matter the governance of this country. And sometimes I think for the longest time sicabanga ukuthi they are not seeing. Gandhi, what I can assure ukuthi they are noticing. They might not be quite involved in politics and being available for ward councillors and all of that, but they are noticing.
Okay. But speaking of involvement, though, how important is it for ulusha to take part in politics? Because, you know, singabaholi bakusasa. So at the end of the day, we do need young people to participate in politics.
I was going to say what you have just said. The future of the country is young people. And I'm concerned when I'm not seeing young people playing a huge part in making sure that they understand the governing of this country. Yes, I understand many young people are concerned that they are not giving them a chance and all of that. But I want to actually express, Uguti, sometimes the chance that you are crying for, what I've noticed is they're not even prepared for that. So I think as young people, yes, we want to be at the forefront, but I think let us be there, learn the trades, and understand what is happening so that when given that opportunity to lead a ward as a ward councillor, you understand the politics, you understand what is expected and all of that. And let us not take light of the education that we are receiving. It is not useless at all. I know that we are unemployed, many of us, but let us not take it for granted.
Speaking of education, you know, in isiZulu siyasho ukuthi ligotshwa lisemanzi. And we have seen in other countries, they've started introducing the voting program education into their curriculum as well. Do you think probably that's the way we should go as South Africa in order just to psych abantwana mhlawumbe abaku grade 9, grade 8, grade 10 to also prepare themselves so that when it comes isikhathi sinje in our country, they're also clued up about what's happening?
I think, allow me to say something a little bit odd, to say, I think maybe masinga yega ukubafundisa about voting. And teach them about their country, understanding the geopolitics of their country, understanding the governance of the country. Ukuthi ubani President Ramaphosa, wenzani President Ramaphosa, make them understand ukuthi MEC uyini, wenzani minister at a very young age, so that they are not taught to just go and vote, because it sounds to them, oh, niyasiyuza nje nifuna nje sambe siyovota kahle kahle, you are not interested in make. So if I were to speak to IEC, I will say go and teach young people about the governance of this country, the day-to-day running of this country. Make them understand ifake lento kubona basebancane hayi kuyobafundisa about voting, because maso yobafundisa about voting, which sometimes the IEC will leave it mostly to politicians, and politicians don't teach people about voting. They teach people about how to vote for them. And why they should vote for them.
All right, speaking of, you know, politicians telling people to vote for them, we've seen a lot of manifestos going around the country. You know, we're filling up stadiums, we're talking to people. But do you think the manifestos that were delivered, do they speak to abantu abasha balapha eNingizimu Afrika?
I had an inquiry myself as well to say, does these manifestos represent young people? And of course, there is a lot of things that have been mentioned, and everyone is hammering the idea, so create imisebenzi nayo yonke lonto leyo, but there is less of how are young people going to be involved in providing that. Young people are interested to say, how are you going to ensure, how are you going to ensure ukuthi you involve us in the creation of jobs? It sounds like you are saying you are going to just deliver to us. Involve us. And the manifestos, some of them, they are a little bit rhetoric. Some of them, it's just a reputation. Some of them, they are playing on the emotions of young people, particularly because everyone is talking about ukuthi sonenzela ukuthi, and you could see ukuthi the leader le yale political party ezelwe izolo have never done anything for cousin yakhe, but uthi uzowenzela something for South Africa, which is very rhetoric, and abantu abasha, they are seeing the thing. And in the about us as Africans, we are very respectful. Sometimes when umdala epambuga, we can't just call them out because we will sound and look rude. But at the same time, I think abantu abasha who are probably not going to come and vote is because they've seen ukuthi when ukuthenga ibhuluko uthengele ingane yakho, but
I totally get you. Mbukeli, we're still in discussion kanye naye Dr. Gamede. We are talking about voters apathy kanye nokhetho lolu esiya kulo njengamanje. Okwamanje ake seyitolo siyabuya unganyakazi.
Welcome back on Bugeliwe Expressions. Well, before 1994, young people were instrumental in sustaining the anti-apartheid struggle. Well, the struggle within South Africa and on the international stage. Their courage, determination, and resilience helped to bring about the eventual downfall of apartheid and saw the establishment of a democratic South Africa. There are more than 27.79 million eligible voters in South Africa, the highest number to date. Of these, the 18 to 39 age band accounts for 42% or 11.7 million voters. Well, see Expressions, we spoke to young people on their ground about their readiness to vote in the upcoming elections.
We are ready and excited. I think the only way for you to get what you want, desires, is for you to vote. That's the only voice that you have.
I'm ready for ukuvota. Zininzi into endizilindeleyo, of which I don't think mhlawumbi zizakwenzeka, kodwa endikulindeleyo kakhulu ndikulindele intuthuko ezitratweni ezihamba kuzo itaxi. There's many potholes.
Isizathu sami sokuthi ngingavoti sesithembiswe kakhulu man. Simuntu sebethenjiswe kakhulu, sesithenjiswe kakhulu izinto kodwa manje na azifezeki.
Yeah, I'm really excited and I'm definitely waiting for change because this country has been run by like one government since for like I don't know how many years. So since like I'm a first-time voter, I want to see change because that's the reason why I actually registered to vote.
I don't think they really connect much to the young people, but then it's for them it's more about doing something to get votes.
Yes, definitely I have to vote. I mean, there are a lot of changes that we need to see in our country. Of course, I mean, I'm looking forward to go and vote for my favorite political party.
Interesting comments coming from young people on the ground. I can say it's mixed emotions. Abanye bathi bazavota, abanye bathi unoche. And in studio we have first-time voters. We have Ulisedi Masela and Tabiseng Palane, who is living with a disability. Hello and welcome to Expressions. Ninjani? Thank you for joining us. And I mean, this comes at a time where South Africa is celebrating 30 years of democracy. And it's very important that Abanabacha are included in this year's election. I want to start with you, Ntabiseng Ndokubana, njengomntomtsha, why you wanted the need to start in Ndobana Jonga, let me register to vote?
Ngibone the need ukuthi ngivote ka ubani ngibona nkare president a rona tshwantse e change dilo wa bona. So at first the president ntse re tshwere azange a etsa next, instead e re file di disability grants ya fella mo. So gona no ke bona ke batla e change president e tlo re tshwarang in the next 4 years e re yang ko yone ke batla e change e re fe the better service delivery. Wa bona. So re khone go ba le a re letse di program tse leng tsa rona re batla bona change tse jwalo because of the program di a tswa, but there's not tsa disability tsone a di itswe.
Yeah,
you understand? So re batla a re letse ntse re batla di rona batho ba disadvantaged a re fe misebetsi re sekolong for blindness. For instance, nna ke ile sekolong, understand, ke skene sekolo ka ba blind ka matric, but ka bana ke batla ya sekolong ka tlo etsa braille, ka tlo etsa braille ka tla nkeletse ntshwetse right a change. So ka vote e ka tla di change.
And Lisedi Untabiseng here is speaking about a lack of service deliveries. Now, as a young person, you took it upon yourself to say, you know what, let me make the change, let me register to vote. Are you confident that by putting your vote out there as a young person,
you know what, when it comes to the electoral process, the reason behind me registering to vote is because I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I were to be led by a government that is corrupt or a government that is led by people that cannot articulate themselves in a respectful way, who do not know protocol, and I had nothing to do with it, or I did not I was not involved in the decision making, or I did not make a change in it. So hopefully by casting my vote and by registering to vote, what I want to see for the betterment of the country will come to fruition.
Profound. And Tabiseng, I want to come to you because we are now you were blind when you were doing your matric. IEC has been doing several programs and campaigns to bring awareness as to abantu bavota kanjani. Do you feel, Tabiseng, according to you, Guti, enough was being done by IEC to make sure that you are fully aware on what's going to happen at the voting polls? I know that tomorrow uzawube ukasta ivoti yako. Are you fully aware about our sister njani yonke lonto?
I'm not fully aware. Ke tloa sister jwang mara nna tse ke expecta gore ba sa re fella dipelo. Understand? Ba sa re fella pelo ba re fe service e sharp.
And on that note, we also invited the IEC. We're hoping that Bebeza Banati Namhlanje so that they can answer all your questions regarding Dogbana when you get to the voting booth, what is expected of you, because obviously you will need all the assistance. I want to come to you. Glendo Etetwa Nguye Untabiseng Uti, she's not fully aware about what's going to happen tomorrow, especially she'll be voting Equity Special. Do you think enough was being done with programs IEC to make sure that young people they fully aware Uti when they can do? Dr. Gumede on the other side mentioned that politicians, they only teach young people to vote for them, not babakwazi vote.
I mean, first of all, we cannot put the burden of teaching people how to vote on political parties, because that's exactly what they will do. They will campaign instead of teaching people how to vote. The electoral process is the burden of the IEC, because they are the ones who are independent and they are the ones who are impartial. And they are the ones that are supposed to teach us as young people how to vote. So it then raises questions of the social relevance within the IEC as to, are they aware or do they take note of the things that young people need? Do they take note of the different media platforms that young people are exposed to, and not just only looking at young people that are in suburban areas as a synecdoche of the youth, but looking at young people in suburban areas and rural areas? How can we reach young people on a broader spectrum? In as much as we have political parties that have their banners there that says we must vote for them, the IEC should employ similar strategies to make sure that young people are well informed of the voting structure and what to do.
So, and on that note, you know, with what you are talking about, I mean, we have one of the members of the IEC joining us on call. A very good afternoon. Welcome to Expressions.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us. In studio, we have Tabiseng, who's actually is a special voter. And she had a question. She says that she's not fully aware as to what is going to be taking place tomorrow as far as your plans and implementations are concerned. Can you just take us through the process? I mean, those who are disabled and actually require special votes, can you just take us through the process on how everything is going to go tomorrow?
There are two processes of special votes. The first is for people who only to a physical condition are unable to come to a voting station. Those we will assist as a places of residence, places of confinement. In other words, they don't have to come to a voting station. The other category are people who are going to vote, that special vote at our voting stations. As it relates to a person who needs assistance to vote, there are two alternatives. The person may bring a companion, a person will start to a station to assist them in the voting process. However, if a disability is related to visual impairment,
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you there. The line is not so good, but hopefully we'll just send you a message so that, Thabiseng is fully aware of what's going to be happening tomorrow. And Thabiseng, ngelishwa ke asikwazanga into yokubana simve kakuhle, but sawuqiniseka into yokubana sizawuqhagamshela naye ukwazi. Siyaqonda wethu wena lisete nawe Thabiseng, there are so many factors that are affecting young people. We have the high rate of unemployment, we have crime rate nayo high. There's so many issues. Looking within our casta vote yenu, what are you hoping?
Should I start?
Yes.
All right. So with casting my vote, I am hoping that moving forward, young people will be included in the different levels and forms of governance, not just in student governments as we have it in universities, but in the actual running of the country, that young people are there in order to give inputs. And we are not just talking about young people that are well vocal or ambitious. We are talking about people that are well educated.
And sorry to cut you. Thabiseng, just a few words to your peers. Nabo bazobe bevota ngomso nanga Wednesday. What are some of the words that you can pass to them so that baqine bayo-vote?
Yeah, na ke rata ba bella gore ba tsamaye ba lo vote. They must believe in God gore change itlo ba teng. President e tla ba eletsa tse ntle, e tla ba eletsa tsotlhe tse ba di lakatsang. Ba tsamaye ba lo vote, ba sa iphella le pelo le bone. Understand? Ba lo cast the votes tsa bone. Di bone they do count the votes tsa bone.
Yes, so the youth of today are definitely the leaders of tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. Right in Bugeliwe Expressions, let's take a quick commercial break. We continue with the discussion. Make sure you do not move a muscle. We'll be right back.
Siphinde sikwamukele mbukeli woza hlala phansi siqhubeke nohlelo. It is very essential to provide young people with the information that they need in order for them to get involved okhethweni. Yiloko kanye esixoxa ngakho namhlanje lapha ohlelweni ku-Expressions, and I'm still of course joined by uDr. Gamete. Doctor, sesivala nje bhuti wami, can you just maybe brief us ukuthi how can we end voters' apathy? Because abantu bayakhala ukuthi ngathi sebekhathele. How can we resolve voters' apathy?
Ngicabanga ukuthi the mentality around voting, if that could be changed, the perception around why we're voting, if we can change that, I think we will be able to deal with the apathy that we are talking about. As I alluded earlier, if abantu abasha could be taught about the day-to-day running of this country, let them understand why so and so is so and so, the minister, what are they doing, and there is a level of accountability. And the most important thing, I think, as abantu abasha, is to stop expecting ukuthi kuno messiah that is going to come azosikhulula. So ivoti lethu asambeni siyovota because it's a democratic right,
and we have to be part of the solution.
Yes, and we have to be part of the solution.
Yes, thank you so much. Kolosa, what an insightful show. Is 2024 our 1994? That's the question.
That's the question, and beware of scammers that are posing as IEC. For all the eligible information, make sure that you visit the IEC website.
Busisiwe Mahlangu is standing by.
I want to write a poem for a country turning a new leaf after many beginnings, for a country stepping into 3 decades but has been alive for longer. I don't know where to begin, but the future starts where we stand. With an X as compass, we cast our hopes into dreams. I want to write a song for a country that cleansed its wound with amnesia and hope. A country of today and tomorrow that doused itself in the rainbow, where we don't pause, don't rest, or else our dreams are delayed. We march on to the pot of gold at the end of the kaleidoscope, where we don't see color, but color marks the invisible borders. I want to write a poem for this country of complex history, of naming and renaming, this country of unending prayers, of asking and taking, this country of resilience and hunger, this country still imagining, remembering, resolving freedom. I want to write it like it's a first line. I want to write this country's first line. Its first yawn at the sun. I want to meet the day it came to be, where the line zigzagged to the ballot, and its children were born free. We want to see the promises take place. We want to see the promises materialize. We want our brothers and sisters off the streets. We want to see the doors education was meant to open. We want to walk the night without fear. We want the center to hold. We want the lies to stop